I didn't burn it. It collapsed. That's all I said before placing the letter on the tray and walking out of that gold-plated room filled with fake laughter and sharper knives. Behind me, someone screamed. A glass shattered. A woman ran out in tears. And then, a fist flew. His brother of all people. The empire didn't fall with fire. It fell with truth. But if you had seen me just a year ago, you wouldn't have recognized that woman in the green silk dress. I was the quiet wife in the background, smiling, composed, perfectly sculpted to be acceptable in their world. I knew every board member's favorite wine, wrote speeches for causes I no longer believed in, hosted fundraisers that raised millions. And I never got a single thank you that wasn't followed by a but. They liked me silent, elegant, obedient, grateful. And for a while, I played the part. The first time Marcus told me I was nothing without his last name, he didn't yell. He said it the same way someone might mention tomorrow's weather. Calm, certain, and cold. I didn't flinch. I just blinked once, then reached into my purse and slid an envelope across the table. Ivory paper, thick, smooth, heavy with everything I'd carried in silence. He smirked, didn't even open it. Just sipped his wine like I'd handed him a grocery list. I stood heels tapping a slow rhythm across the marble floor and left, not in anger, not in tears, just done. The air outside bit into my skin, sharp and honest. I passed the hedges I used to trim with event ribbons, the fountain where I once posed for family photos pretending I belonged. The gates opened without question. My driver, bless his quiet soul, didn't even ask where to. In the back seat, I stared out the window as the estate faded. That house had seen me cry, shrink break, and rebuild. But tonight it didn't see me at all. And that was the last time I'd ever be invisible. People think betrayal comes in one big dramatic scene. Nah. It comes in teaspoons, a missed introduction, a joke about your background, a lie told with a smile. His mother once asked if my family still lived in that part of Detroit. I said yes and reminded her zip codes don't define ambition. She didn't reply. Marcus laughed too loud and changed the subject. I had a miscarriage alone, lost a baby between two charity events, fainted in the bathroom stall at the Hilton, wiped the blood off my hands, and still gave a speech 20 minutes later. Marcus didn't even notice. When I finally told him, he blinked and said, "Next time," like we'd missed a brunch reservation. Then came the brunch. The one where he stood up, tapped his champagne glass, wrapped his arm around my shoulder and said, "We're expecting." I wasn't pregnant. I hadn't even told him I couldn't be again. But to him it was strategy. A baby softened the board, loosened the family trust. It was all just optics. And I realized he hadn't just used my body. He had sold my silence, my grief, my name. That day I didn't scream. I didn't throw a plate across the room like in the movies. I just smiled, drank the smoothie he handed me the next morning, flushed it down the sink, and opened my laptop. First line I wrote: "He used my womb as currency and my silence as collateral." And then I got to work. See, I wasn't just a pretty +1. I had degrees, receipts, emails. I knew where the bodies were buried, metaphorically speaking. I'd been the ghostwriter behind half the foundation's success, and I still had the access. Back at the office, the one they reassigned to an intern, when I became too emotional, I logged in with credentials they forgot to revoke. Pulled every document I'd touched, every speech I'd edited, every memo I'd co-authored, all of it. Then I met Layla, that same intern, in a coffee shop. Slid her a referral to a top law firm in Chicago. She slid me a flash drive. Fair trade. And that iPad, the one from our honeymoon, still linked to his cloud. That's how I found her, Not Helena the dragon lady who ran the empire in heels, sharper than most knives, but Helena's niece, also known as my sister-in-law. Texts, photos, videos, voice notes where he called me dead weight. The weekend I miscarried, he was with her laughing shirtless, saying he needed someone less complicated. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I archived every file, every date, backed them up in 3 places, one in Yoruba, so Helena wouldn't crack it if she tried. And then I waited. The gala came. Their precious annual gala where everyone showed up in pearls and pretensions. I wasn't on the guest list. Didn't need to be. I wore the green dress they once told me was too bold, walked past security like I owned the place because in some ways I did. Marcus saw me first. His jaw tensed. Helena froze. I didn't stop. I walked straight to him, slid the envelope onto a waiter's tray and said, "This one's for you. Read it before midnight, or don't. The clock still moves." And I walked. I didn't wait to watch it explode. I didn't need the chaos, though I heard about it later. The gasp, the scream, the glass breaking, the punch from his own brother. Helena silenced for once. Everyone stunned. I was already in the car shoes, off breath steady. I didn't need applause. I needed peace. Now I live in a modest apartment with cracked tiles and real light. I founded a platform that uplifts Black girls in STEM, not as charity, but as promise. My name is on the door, on the paycheck, on the story. Not his name, mine. Marcus lost control of the foundation. Helena was quietly retired. Their empire didn't burn, it just collapsed. Sometimes people ask if I miss that life. The gowns, the galas, the title of Mrs. and I smile. Because silence used to be their weapon. Now it's mine. I didn't destroy their legacy. I simply stopped holding it up. And if you've ever been the quiet one, the overlooked one, let me tell you, you don't have to shout to be heard. You just have to decide that your name matters more than theirs. Now I've got a question for you. If you were in my heels that night, what would you have done? Would you have stayed silent or let it all burn? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because sometimes the biggest revolutions start with one quiet woman walking away.